Hi, I'm Sherri Borger. My July stamp club was watercolors. I'm going to go through all the things we used in that class. The Pun Fun stamp set. We used the blender pens, comes in a pack of 3. Watercolor crayons, watercolor pencils, Stampin' pastel chalks. The StazOn jet black ink is what we use to put the image onto the watercolor paper. We used a marker and we used the stamp pad. Now I'm going to go through the process of making the 6 cards. First technique I'm going to use is watercolor crayons with the Dove blender pen. I'm using the Hippo stamp from the Pun Fun set. I'm going to use blue for the body of my hippo. I take the blender pen and go along the bottom of the crayon until I get crayon on my pen. Then I go along the outer edge of my hippo, around the mane areas and the feet. Then I proceed to blend that color throughout the hippo. And you can shade it however you want. And then for the bow and the ears, I use the pink crayon. You'll see the finished product at the very end of the video. When you're done, then you just take your Dove blender pen and you continue to rub until you have a clear color on your paper. Then you know you can reuse your blender pen. The next technique I'm going to show you is using pencils. I'm going to use the skunk stamp for the pencils. You do similar to the crayon. You outline your edges and then you blend them in. I'm going to use the white and get the stripe of the skunk first. Then I'm going to use the gray. Go around the outer edge of the tail. I'm going to go around his cheeks, his body, and just a little bit around like that. Then you take your blender pen and you continue to go along your pencil area, and then I just use circular motions to get the watercolor effect that I actually wanted. You can rub back and forth, or you can go in circles, or any way that you feel it's going to get you the effect that you want. For the body, I just kind of go towards the middle. And then I will show you the finished card in the end. The next technique to make a watercolor effect is using the Stampin' Pastels chalk. I'm going to use the sheep for that. Again, continue rubbing until it's clear. It has a cute little heart, so I'm going to go for the red, or you can go with pink. And just went inside. Rub out the red and finish blending and almost bleeding it through a little bit. For the body of the sheep, I'm going to use the gray. And as you see, after a while, your marker will get a staining effect, but that will not go on to your next project once you've rubbed that clean. So I've taken gray chalk around the outside. Now I'm going to blend it in. I'm just going to use some circular motions and blend it into the body. And you will see the finished product on that one. Next technique I'm going to use is using the marker. With the cat I'm using the more mustard. All I'm doing is going along the lines of the cat, filling in the tail, and then I kind of go along the side of the face so I can blend that in. Then you take your blender and you follow along the lines or however you really want to, and then create that watercolor look along the body of the cat. The next technique is going to be using pooling of the ink off the ink pad. With the whale, I'm using Going Gray and then Bashful Blue. You squeeze the pad and you've pooled in your ink on the top of your pad. You get the ink and then you proceed to fill in your whale.
Go get it.
With the blue, I go along the water and then I get the little shoots of water from the whale as well. You'll see the finished product of that. The rocket ship, you can get a real vibrant color by taking it right from the stamp pad itself. I used Brilliant Blue, and by going to the edge of the stamp pad and not the center, by the edge, and you soak up the ink, go along the edge or wherever you want to have your darker color, and then go back and create that watercolor effect by pulling in the ink. Those are the 6 effects. There are some more, but for this class I used those techniques. This is a close-up of each of the cards. To review, the whale, we used the ink from stamp pads. We pulled the ink into the cap of the stamp pad to use that. This was the using straight from the ink pad. We took the blender pen and absorbed the ink from the ink pad to create this. We used the blender pen again with chalk, and then we used a black and white gingham ribbon. This one was used with the marker. We used more mustard, and then I used yellow brads to accent that card. The skunk, we used the watercolor pencil. We used a flower from the 3-flower punch, and then a pink brad. The Hip Hip Hooray, we used the watercolor crayons, and then we used the flower from the 3-flower punch, and then a blue brad. If you would like to know any more information on any workshops or clubs that are coming up, or if you have any questions, you can go to sherryborger.stampinup.net.